I'm going to tell you the hardest thing about YouTube, the hardest thing about being a content creator, the hardest thing about starting a YouTube channel, the thing that gets all of us, every single one of us. I'm going to tell you how to overcome it, how I overcame it, and how actually it's now my favourite part of the whole process. How have I done it? Let's get going. Let's be honest. There are so many scary aspects to starting YouTube, of being a content creator, of putting yourself on the internet. It is terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And most of us feel the same. Now, there are some things that some people find more difficult than others, but this is one thing that I honestly think, if you can master this, you've got it absolutely covered. But let's talk about a few of the scary things first, because a lot of these we can just put to bed. So the first thing that I was really worried about when I first started YouTube was basically how to do it. The IT behind it, just not having enough knowledge, didn't even know how to put footage onto the computer. How do we even get it onto the computer? How does it go onto YouTube? All of those things. But actually, that wasn't the scariest thing for me. It was just something I didn't know how to do yet. And it was something I can learn. I can go and use the resource that is YouTube in order to have that free tuition. And there's some amazing content creators out there that show us how to do all of these things. So for me, that was just, I need to learn those skills. So it was scary as in I needed to understand it, but it wasn't scary, terrifying like some of the other things. So that was just something I needed to learn how to do. The judgment, the worry about the judgment, that was a really big thing for me, but it wasn't the scariest thing, but it was definitely something that I was concerned about. I was worried about people who knew me. What were they going to think? Oh my goodness, they're going to laugh at me. They're going to they're just going to say, what is she doing? Who does she think she is? Particularly my other channel, I was talking about luxury bags. While I'm saying that, let me just introduce myself. I am Deb and this is The Wild Edit, and this is my new channel. I have another channel where I talk about luxury bags. That's why there's some up there. We don't talk about bags on this channel. So if you are interested in that, hop over and have a look. If not, don't bother and just stay here, because we're talking all things YouTube creation and strategy and just how to, because honestly, most of us don't know what we're doing. Some of us still don't know what we're doing, but we're trying, and I'm trying to share some of my experiences in the hope that it might help some of you guys. So that is what we're talking about today. So when I started my other channel, because it was about luxury, there's a lot of judgment with that. How on earth dare you spend that amount of money on a material item? All of that. So I was very worried about judgment in general from people that know me, because I had judgment about these things in my real life. So it was only going to be amplified on YouTube, right? And then secondly, the people that don't know me, the judgment I was going to face. What do I do if I get real hate comments and all of that? But as I said, this wasn't the scariest thing. This was something I was concerned about, but it wasn't going to stop me. It really wasn't. I was very determined. And I'm really glad that it didn't stop me, because what I actually found was the opposite, that actually the people that I thought in my real life that were going to judge me for doing YouTube either didn't judge me and they were just not interested either way, which is fine and actually good, or they were actually more supportive than I gave them credit for. So a lot of it was my perception about what might happen rather than actual reality. So that was a good lesson to just think, right, you've just assumed. And actually you don't know what people really think. And the judgment online, well, that is something, and it does happen. And I do get some hate comments, particularly about some of these expensive things. But that doesn't worry me and that doesn't scare me, because I know that those people don't know me. They only know the snippet of information that I choose to share on YouTube. So it was something that I was scared-ish about, but again, something I just wanted to overcome. And it's actually been a great process. Another thing that you guys may fear when starting YouTube. What if nobody watches? Well, actually, what I would say is this wasn't a scary thing for me because I didn't care. And I mean that in the nicest possible way, that I didn't start YouTube in order for people to watch. And that sounds really weird, but it is the truth. I started it as a personal challenge, as a little bit of therapy, as something to challenge myself to do. And actually, I probably was more fearful that people might watch and they might see it and they might then judge. So I was never worried about that. But I guess that some of you guys will be, because your aim will be from the get-go to get viewers, to get people watching. And what if nobody watches? Well, what if they don't? And for most of us, people don't watch that often at the beginning because it is such a process. But it doesn't mean that you're not worthy of the viewer. It doesn't mean your videos aren't good. It just means you're not known yet. It's a long process. You've got to put the hard yards in, as they say. And therefore, if you are somebody that's worried about what if nobody watches, well, just gear yourself up that it will take some time. And actually, at first, probably nobody will. So if you get even a handful of views, how amazing, how absolutely amazing. So yeah, don't worry about it. Who cares? Who cares? So we're going to talk about one more thing that may scare you, and then we're going to get onto the big one that gets every single one of us, I promise you. And I am going to tell you how to overcome it. But before we talk about that, what about the fear of being rubbish? The fear of actually failing, the fear of not being very good at this, the fear of, I don't know, just not producing a very good video or looking like an idiot. I mean, it is a fear that a lot of us do think about. What if I am rubbish? What if people laugh? Maybe you are an entertainment channel and actually you want people to laugh, but assuming that we don't want people to laugh, we actually want to bring some education or some information, and we're scared that we're just going to look silly. Well, I think that is one fear that we need to just push to the side, because actually most of us that start YouTube, we are rubbish. I am rubbish. My first videos, my goodness, I will link my first ever video up here, because the way I filmed and edited and put this video up was just awful, absolutely awful, but I found some courage to do it. So what I would say is you probably will be rubbish at first, because you can't be good until, well, most people, most of us, we need practice, we need experience, we need to hone our skills, and therefore, of course, we're going to be rubbish. But how do we get better at something without actually doing? So I would say put that fear to one side and just think, just do. Stop overthinking. Stop worrying about if it's this, if it's that, if it's whatever. Don't try and be perfect. Just have a go at it. And that's where we all start. But the hardest thing about YouTube, the hardest thing for all of us, is the filming, the putting yourself on screen. It is terrifying. It is the hardest thing to get right, and it is the scariest thing. And I would say that 99% of us that are on YouTube have found or do still find the filming and the fact that you are seeing yourself on screen, it is absolutely terrifying. So what is it about filming that really, really scares us? Well, for me, I'll tell you my experience. I was so worried about how I look. I am very, very unsure and uncertain in my own skin. I've never been overly comfortable in my own skin. And I'm one of the last people on this planet that you would think would put themselves out on the internet. All my friends will tell you, all my family will tell you, they were amazed that I would do this. I am super shy. I am so self-conscious. I am so body conscious. I hate seeing myself in photographs. I'm always zooming in and criticizing myself. And honestly, I do not like what I see in the mirror. I just don't. So the fact that I even put myself on the internet is a miracle. I don't even know how I managed to do it, but I found the courage from somewhere. So, what was I actually worried about? I was worried about how I look. I was worried about how old I look, how fat I look, how big I look, how ridiculous I look, how wrinkled I am, how double chin, how just anything that you can think of was going through my mind. I also worried about how I sound. I have been, just a little aside, guys, I have been teased my entire life about my accent. I won't go into details, but I have been teased a lot. And it got to the point when I was younger where I was so quiet because I didn't like to speak. Because if I did speak, I would be ridiculed. And I am not kidding. And I grew up being very, very conscious, self-conscious about my accent and how I sound. And it was one thing I was very, very worried about starting YouTube, that I thought that all the backlash I was going to get was about how old I am, how big I am, and all those physical things, but also how I sound. I thought I was going to be ridiculed like I was when I was a little bit younger. And it has been the thing. Honestly, guys, it is the most complimented thing about my channel is my voice. And I am honestly, I could not believe it. From the very, very early days of YouTube, people have said, I love your calming voice. I really love to listen to you. You should do audiobooks. I have been more complimented on my accent than anything else on my channel. And it has been, when I say life-changing, it sounds really melodramatic, but for somebody who has been bullied and teased and taunted and ridiculed about something, and then for the wider mass, if you like, to embrace you for it, it's revolutionary, honestly. So what I would say is that sometimes the things that you worry about are the exact opposite of what actually happens. And actually, there are things that I never worried about or thought about. And they're the things that have come along and hit me in the face, if you like. Things I never even thought I would have to deal with. So what I would say is just don't worry about it. You are you. And that is more than enough. What if I stuttered? What if I made myself look an idiot? What if I just made loads of mistakes? What if I just wasn't very good? All of those things. How to actually film itself, what camera to use, what angle to use, what lighting, all of that. It's so terrifying. But this is how I overcame it. So I'm going to give you a couple of things that I did in order to overcome the fear of it. And I'm then also going to give you some pointers of things that might help, just like general terms. So the one big thing that I did, well, there's two things. The first thing was just practice, just do it. Now, I could tell you that you can film either on your iPhone, on a camera, however you want to film. You don't have to publish it. It's not live. You're not putting yourself on live TV. You can look at it, edit it, and decide, I don't like it. I don't want to put it up onto the internet. You don't have to. That is one thing. But my advice actually is sort of the opposite of that, of actually just put it up. Because the way that you learn and the way you grow confidence is by putting yourself out of your comfort zone and doing. It's like the analogy I talked about before. In another video when I was talking about going to the gym and the fact that I didn't want to join a gym and I was trying to get fit before joining a gym so I didn't look stupid at the gym. Where actually the way that you get fit is to do the thing itself. So don't try and do it yourself somewhere else in order to get a little bit comfortable, in order to then be able to do the thing. Just go and do it. It's the way that we learn. It's the way that we grow. And yeah, I just think that for me, my very first video, and that is why it's so bad. It is so bad. But the reason that it is so bad is because I didn't practice. I didn't hone in any skills. I just filmed it, did a tiny tweak of editing because I didn't know how to edit. And I put it up that same day. I just put it up and I just thought, Let's see what happens. And I found the courage to do that. So that would be my advice, but that's for me and my sort of personality, because I know if I didn't do that, I just never would. I would practice and practice and practice and practice and never actually do. So that would be my advice. But just remember, you don't have to actually publish it if you don't want to. And the other thing, the big thing that I actually did very, very early on in my YouTube journey, if you like, I was actually approached by a really gorgeous young lady who was at university in a place called Nottingham, which is a couple of hours away from where I live. And she approached me, seeing that I was a very new YouTuber. I had hardly any subscribers, hardly any videos out. I don't know how she found me. She came across me. And she was doing her dissertation at university on media studies and film, and I don't know. And she just approached me and said, as part of my dissertation, would you be interested in answering a few questions, letting me interview you as such as a YouTuber? And then, and I can learn a little bit about behind the scenes. And I just, honestly, I felt, when you get that complete sick feeling inside of just dread and just, I don't want to do that. I felt absolutely terrified. And do you know what? I could have read, that was an email, I think, or a DM that she sent me, and I could have easily just ignored it completely. I could have responded and said, thank you so much for your kind offer, but it's not something I can do at the moment. Or I could put my big girl pants on, as we say up north, and I could find some courage, and I could actually put myself out of my comfort zone and do it for two reasons. One, and the biggest reason, it would really help this girl who was doing a dissertation and wanted to interview some YouTubers and reached out to a number of people and hoped that one of us would actually say yes. So the first thing is, I could be really helping somebody. Secondly, I could really be helping myself, because what better way to practice something than putting yourself out of your comfort zone and actually just doing? So I just looked at it and I thought, I'm going to do that. But honestly, for me personally, it was one of the best things that I've ever done. So I travelled down to Nottingham, actually dragged my daughter with me. She came with me, and we went to the university. And when I got in there, it was a much bigger production than I realised. I thought she was just going to hold up an iPhone. Maybe I have an iPhone on a tripod and she was just going to chat to me. No, there was a full 2 massive TV cameras set up, different angles, in a proper little studio, and it was so professional and everything, but it scared the living daylights out of me, I'm not going to lie. And we prepped a few things, and I was terrified, absolutely terrified. But actually, it went really well, and I learned so much that day, so much, that I actually enjoyed it, and I've realised, I think I learned that there was something in me that wanted to do it. Honestly, I came out of there absolutely buzzing, because I'd learned some new skills. I'd helped somebody. My daughter stayed and watched all of it, and she was super proud of me. She was so proud of her mum, because she knew I was really terrified. And so all in all, it was a fantastic day. Yeah, it was one of the best things I did. So what I would say is, just put yourself out there. If somebody reaches out to you, say yes to it. And even if they don't, there'll be something that comes along where you're out of your comfort zone. So yeah, embrace it, lean into it, don't resist it. That's what I would say. And a few little pointers that will help you film. So firstly, remember that you can edit. So don't worry if you make a mistake. What I tend to do is I've got my camera and I set it going and I just get going. And if I make a mistake, I just carry on, because I know I can edit it out. I don't stop and start. I don't start again and start from the very beginning, unless I don't like anything that I've done, and then I might start again. But Just remember, you can edit. Don't be panicky. When I first started filming, any mistake I made, I'd be thinking, "Oh, don't look at me on screen. I wanted to turn the camera off and then start it again." Now I don't care because I know I might look really silly in the edit, in the bits in between, but I'm going to cut them out. It doesn't matter. And you get over yourself with it. So that's the first thing, is remember that you can edit. So really, it doesn't matter if you make mistakes. It doesn't matter if you stutter. It doesn't need to be perfect. And in fact, it's probably better if it's not perfect, because that is you and your personality. And I love watching people for that reason. I don't like it when it's too polished. I'm trying to be more professional. However, I will make mistakes and I'll just leave it in. I might stutter, might trip over my words or whatever. It doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't. Just keep doing it. Keep practicing. Remember that you don't have to publish it, but I would go on the basis of you are going to publish it. So just put yourself out there. It's absolutely fine. The other things that can be really, really helpful is get the planning done. Spend so much more time on the planning than maybe you do already, because the better planned that you are, the more, I suppose, the slicker that it will be as you start to film. And the slicker it is in your filming, the less of editing that you do have to do. So it just reduces the time. Because it does, when you're on YouTube, it takes a long time to do any of these things. It's so time consuming. So if we can make it a bit more efficient, that might just help a bit. So yeah, I would say definitely plan everything first. And also, when it comes to planning, I tend to write like a script for my introduction. Don't necessarily say it word for word, but I write it. And I'm going to look at that side just to tell you, I have a whiteboard that is literally just behind the camera there. And some people use teleprompters. That could be something that you could do. I've never used one. I don't know if it would work for me. It may or may not. But I have a whiteboard. So I have written my introduction up there, which I sort of have half memorised, and I've just hopefully said, I haven't said anything wrong in that, but it won't be word for word because I'm not reading it exactly. And then I have all my bullet points again on that whiteboard, and I can glance at them, and then I know where I am next. And that is how I do the bullet points, because for me, I don't want a full script. I don't want it too polished, because I want to be able to talk about whatever I want to talk about. But I don't want to go off on too many tangents, which I've already done a couple of times in this video, I'm not going to lie. But that's really helped me. The other thing to remember is sometimes I'm not sort of warmed up yet, and I start filming and I just don't feel like I'm on a roll. I haven't got into a rhythm yet. And so I end up trying to do my introduction like 3 or 4 times because I keep getting it wrong, or keep saying things and I just think, oh no, I don't like how that is. Where actually what you can do, if it helps, is just get into the body of the video and actually just get filming, get warmed up, and then do the introduction at the end and then edit it in. Just move it around. And that way, it doesn't always work for me because I like to do things in order because that's how my brain works. But for some people, it's easier to do it the opposite way around, like finish your video, then film your introduction and then splice it in, because at that point you're really warmed up and in a rhythm and you probably present it better. So remember, it's not live. You can do all these things and it just might help you. And now filming is my favourite part of the process. And that is because I am talking directly to you guys in the camera. When I first started, it was more about just me challenging myself. And I wasn't looking for viewers. I was looking for an outlet for me. This has become very much a two-way street now, and this is my community of people. And so I look forward to looking down the lens and talking to you guys individually and collectively. And therefore, I just really enjoy it. And I know that it can be a good video, it can be not so good video, I can be better in some than others. It doesn't matter. It's all good. It's all good. So how I overcame it was by putting myself out of my comfort zone, by saying yes to people, of doing little challenges that I never thought I'd be able to do, and just having those little prompts there just to help me make it a little bit smoother and a little bit more, a little bit slicker. We don't want a bit overly polished, but we want enough that yeah, that I know what I'm talking about. So I've got my bullet points, I've got my script for my introduction. I've just made it as easy as possible for me. I've kept my camera rolling. And it is what it is. So I will put this video together and we'll see what it looks like. But it is honestly my favourite part now. So if you're really scared of putting yourself out there, just do it. Just do it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on another one.